Pleasant day to everyone. So welcome back to our Readings in Philippine History subject. And we are going to talk about your understanding about the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or the CARP, which is a social and political issue here in the Philippines. So on these next few chapters that we are going to discuss, we will have Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, then we will have Philippine taxation laws, and also the Philippine Constitution will also be discussed. So you will be exposed to social, political, economic, and cultural his issues of Philippine history. And in this way, you will be developing your of communication, your articulation, and your historical analysis on particular issues and events. So this will also help you to manage present day issues and concerns, and you will have a chance to be knowledgeable on all the issues, particular issues that you are going to face. So you will also, by knowing and understanding these certain issues, you will be able to possibly recommend solutions for these problems based on your own understanding of the root causes of these particular issues in Philippine history. So you will have certain scenarios that would also offer you opportunity to assess the issue, and as well as address the root causes and their anticipation for future recommendations or remedies that you can help as a Filipino citizens. So from this topic, you will be having your own understanding, and also uh, you will be also exposed to primary sources of connected to these certain issues, and it will help you to analyze the topic that is already almost a daily concern for all Filipinos. Now, we will talk about the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or CARP, as a Philippine Agrarian Reform Law. So this was established under Republic Act number 6657, also known as the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law, or the CARL. That is the specific law that upholds this Department of Agrarian Reform Program. This CARP or SCAR program, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, aimed to redistribute agricultural lands to small independent farmers. So what are the goals of this Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program? We all know that Philippines is an agricultural country. So we want to promote equality in income opportunities among landowners, particularly farmers. So we will also, this program will also empower beneficiaries with equitable land ownership. Ano po sinasabing equitable? This will be yun nga, tulad po ng magkakaroon sila ng uh, sarili nilang disposition, or sarili nilang way to become more efficient in their agricultural business. This will also help enhance agricultural production and productivity. In what way? The more owners daw po ng landowners, the more persons there will be to be responsible for the production of rice and other agricultural products in the Philippines. This will also provide employment to agricultural workers. And later we will discuss in what ways they would be provided with more agricultural employment. And this program also aims to resolve conflicts regarding land ownership. Ito po yung pinakamalaking issue, the land ownership. Now, historical concept. So, CARP is already a part of a long history of land reform attempts in the Philippines. From the time of Ramon Magsaysay up to the present government, the two Aquinos, and the present government titingnan natin how CARP is already implemented. So this was initiated under President Corazon Aquino's administration in 1986. Although it has a different name since Ramon Magsaysay's attempt to give resettlement to uh, certain NPA rebels, yung mga rebel po noon na nagbabalik loob sa government. There was a certain program under the Magsaysay administration to give them a certain part of land na kanila pong i-cultivate para po sa kanilang pagbabagong buhay. The law was enacted after significant public demand for agrarian reform during the time of President Corazon C. Aquino. Now, key legislative milestones, ang dami pong naging batas niyan, but the most prominent ones are the Presidential Proclamation 1 and Executive Order 229 outlined the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. This was under the administration of President Corazon C. Aquino. And this was established, this Proclamation number 1 and Executive Order 229, it was established in 1987 after the Philippine Revolution, People's Power Revolution number 1. So Republic Act number 8532 extended appropriations until 2008. And this, bakit po kailangan ng extension? Because ang binigay pong time under Presidential Proclamation 1 and EO 229 ay may limited time lang po ng pag-distribute ng land ownership. And it was later on with RA number 8532, in-extend po yung CARP funding and appropriations until 2008. I think there's a limited time. I have yet to double check from 1987 to whatever specific year lang ang binigay. But later on, in-extend din po, ginawa nila ng batas to extend the deadline until 2008. However, hindi pa rin po siya natapos in 2008. That's why CARPER, the extended version of CARP, ay isinabatas na rin po. Later, we'll talk about CARPER with more details. Now, 30 years of CARP, I have taken this following our next slides on the Department of Agriculture website. And it has varied information. So, kung gusto nyo po, pwede nyo rin pong i-check by yourself for further research. This reference that I have seen in reference of information that I have taken from Department of Agrarian Reform website. So, what does the DAR logo mean? So, ito po yung makikita natin in the Department of Agriculture Department of Reform Office na it has certain symbols and colors that represent the goals of the agency. So green stands for fertility and productivity, and its rays represent the division of lands distributed to farmer beneficiaries nationwide. The yellow is the image of the sun, which represents hope and golden harvest of agrarian reform beneficiaries, and both colors imply that economic growth and sound rural development can be achieved through the agrarian reform. The acronym DAR means Department of Agrarian Reform, the government agency implementing the program. Next one is who can qualify as agrarian reform beneficiary. Sino po ba ang pwedeng maging recipient ng... So it says here, according to RA 6657 section 22, it says here that the first qualification is kailangan landless ka, or when you don't own a land or any agricultural land more than 3 hectares. So dapat less than 3 hectares lang ang meron ka as a farmer. You should also be a Filipino citizen and at least 15 years of age or head of the family at the time of acquisition of a property. So kailangan hindi ka bababa or babata pa sa 15 years old or head of the family ka na at the time na ina-award yung yung lote sa iyo or the hectares of land, agricultural land. Has willingness, ability, and aptitude to cultivate and make the land productive as possible. So it's one of the actual ano nga ba tawag dito, qualifications, di ba, na that you has the ability, the person has to have the ability and willingness and aptitude to cultivate and make the land productive as possible. Bakit? Ibibigay sa iyo yung lupa, dapat napapakinabangan po ito dahil ito isa sa mga pinaka-goal po ng Comprehensive Agrarian Reform that we mentioned earlier. So ito po, dagdag pang mga qualification na kung paano ka po maging beneficiary. You should be an agricultural leasee or share tenant. Ano po ba yung agricultural leasee? Nagre-rent lang po kayo ng lupang sinasakahan nyo. Okay? So, meron pong may-ari ng lupa pero nirerentahan nyo lang po yung bukirin niya at binabayaran nyo lang sila every year or every harvest, depende po yung sa usapan nyo. What are share tenants? Ang mga share tenants, sila tong kung ano yung crop nila, ano yung harvest nila, may sharing na nangyayari sa may-ari ng lupa and those people who are tending the land. Sila yung cultivators, sila yung gumagastos ng planting, sa work animals, sa harvesting. Sila yung nag-share with the owner of the land. Yung owner of the land, maaaring nagbibigay din ng animals, ng work animals, or panggas, I don't know, depende po yan. Pag sinabing shared tenants, it could be a 50-50 share, or pwede rin pong 70-30, or 30-70, depende po yan sa usapan. So, the regular farm workers are also the qualified beneficiaries. Siyempre, i-award mo yung lupa, agricultural land na sasakahan sa hindi farmer, I think hindi naman po yan tama. So, seasonal farm workers are also qualified and other farm workers. Maring ang sakahan mo ay hindi pang, pag sinabing other farm workers and other tillers or occupants of public lands, nagbubungkal pa rin sila ng lupa as a means of livelihood. Pwede pong pechay, pwedeng sitaw, pwedeng labanos, or whatever the season vegetables do you want to plant. Naman kailangan, rice lang. Okay? So, collective or cooperatives of the above beneficiary. O yun, may mga kooperatiba, pwede rin po, and others directly working on the land. So, marami po pong ito po yung mga qualification ng mga agrarian reform beneficiaries. Now, kapag ikaw ay carp farmer beneficiary, are you allowed to sell the land awarded to you? And the answer is no. Kapag in-award yan sa'yo, you cannot transfer or sell or donate the land awarded to you except through hereditary succession. Except lang po na ipapamana mo siya sa anak mo or legal inheritors mo. Or if sold back to the state through the Land Bank of the Philippines or to another qualified beneficiary within the 10-year period. So, dapat pag give up mo siya, halimbawa, ayaw mo palang maging farmer, gusto mo na palang mag-abroad. So, ang gagawin mo, ibibenta mo lang siya sa Land Bank of the Philippines or another qualified beneficiary na nandun po, nakalista sa Department of Agrarian Reform Office. Selling their awarded lands would be a ground for disqualification as beneficiary of CARP, PD 27, and other agrarian laws. Like the RMC number 1919, sorry, hindi ko makita masyado. Pero, yun nga po, ang importante dito na kapag ikaw ay nagbenta ng agrarian reform na lupa, then you are going to be disqualified as a landowner. So, another information that I picked up from the website is this. So, there's a difference pala from land reform and agrarian reform. Kasi ang in-implement po ni Ramon Magsaysay ay pagbigay lang ng mga resettlements. And ang nangyari po ay hindi naman totally pa sinasabi o sinasaad na magiging farm. So land reform generally, ito pagkakaiba ng dalawa ha, land reform generally comprise the takeover of land by the state from big landlords with partial compensation with the aim of transferring it to small farmers and landless workers. Samantalang, ang agrarian reform naman is a broader term. So along with land reform, it measures to modernize the agricultural practices and improve the living conditions of the entire agrarian population. Sa land reform, lupa lang ang hahati-hatiin from the bigger owners or bigger landowners. Limbawa, isang hacienda, marami pong farmers and landless owners, babayaran ni government with a partial compensation, sinasabi dyan, babayaran sila ng gobyerno for the land, and then the smaller farmers and landless workers, it would be divided among them. So agrarian reform has covers of provision of various support services. Ito kasi ang agrarian reform, may pag-aalalay pa after na nabili yung lupa at after na divide yun from the big chunk na hacienda and then it divided into to smaller farmers and landowners. Ang nangyari po ay bibigyan pa po under the agrarian reform program may tulong pa po at services na ibibigay ang gobyerno to help them push through with their agricultural business. So, nag-i-establish po ito ng cooperatives, ng development ng institutions para makapagbigay ng pautang, for example, for agricultural credit and other inputs, nagpa-process sa marketing din ng kanilang agricultural produce and establishment of agro-based industries. So, mas malawak po ang agrarian reform kumpara sa land reform. Ang land reform ay paghati-hati lamang, samantalang ang agrarian reform ay nagpo-promote pa ng extended services. More than the division of land, it includes to modernize the agricultural processes at i-improve talaga ang buhay ng lahat ng mga sa agricultural business or industry. The next information that I've taken or nakalap ko po dito sa website ng Department of Agriculture is after pala ng kay President Ramon Magsaysay at tinuloy lamang po ni President Carlos P. Garcia, although wala siyang nilagay na bagong batas, tinuloy niya pa rin yung batas na in-approve or sinasagawa ni President Ramon Magsaysay sa pag-resettle ng mga landless farmers, pero nagbibigay ng more importance the rebel returnees and providing them with homelands and farmlands. So ito po yung ginawa ni President Ramon Magsaysay na tinuloy naman po ni President Carlos P. Garcia. Now, who is President Diosdado Macapagal was considered as the father of agrarian reform. Bakit po? Because the Agricultural Land Reform Code or RA number 3844 was enacted during his term. So ito po, inabolish na po yung share tenancy. Ano po yung sinasabi natin kanina about share tenancy? The tenants and the landowner will share the crop or the harvest and emphasize owner cultivatorship, farmer independence, equity, productivity, and public distribution of land. So siya talaga yung naghimok na tiin yan. Kailangan maging independent ng isang farmer. Ang isang farm worker, kailangan magkaroon ng sarili niyang cultivatorship or siya mismo ang magpapaunlad ng sarili niyang kalupaan. So this one was fathered by the father of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So during naman after President Diosdado Macapagal, presidential decree by former President Ferdinand E. Marcos declared the country under land reform program. So ito po ay hinikayat niya that all agencies and offices of the government to extend full cooperation and assistance to the DAR or the Department of Agrarian Reform. It also activated the Agrarian Reform Coordinating Council. Bakit niya kinailangan ng council? Because he added during his time, nawala yung slide na yun, he added during his time, may certain changes. Lalo na nung time na naging parliament, pansamantala ang government ng Philippines under the 1972 Constitution. I'm not sure, pero I'll be back with it during the Philippine Constitution discussion. But it was in 1978 nang inimplement niya kasi yung kanyang mga rules na to. So Marcos made during the parliamentary form of government under his administration, naging Ministry of Agrarian Reform ang Department of Agrarian Reform. Napalitan yon. He encouraged DAR actually, and land limit, parang inilimitan nila nilimitan niya na ang magiging limit lang ng ektarya ng lupa ng bawat farmer ay 7 hectares, which was contradicted naman nung nanalo si President Aquino and established the RA 6657 during the 1987 Constitution. So dito, parang naging official law na ang tawag sa Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. It recognized both farmers and landless workers as beneficiaries. And during her time, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program during the Aquino administration in 1986 to 1992, ang na-accomplish ng CARP neto ay 22% lamang ng targeted lands. Bakit? Nakaharap kasi sila sa multiple challenges tulad po ng Hacienda Luisita controversy. Ano po itong Hacienda Luisita controversy? It was owned by the Cuangco family, which is the family of President Corazon Cuangco Aquino. On her mother's side, ang Hacienda Luisita ay pinagmamay-ari ng mother's side na to ni President Corazon C. Aquino. And what happened is that Hacienda Luisita has many tragic stories. Kung kayo po ay mag-research further to primary sources about the Hacienda Luisita controversies, you will find that there was a lot of very big controversies about the Cuangco family failing to give up the partials of land that should go to the landless workers and farmers ng hacienda nila. So kung sila mismo na presidente, kumbaga, with the highest office in the land, cannot give this up, parang naging malaking issue po yun, ang CARP. Kaya parang nag-contribute po siya sa failure during her period. Na which is, ito lang sana yung time na binibigay, kasi ang CARP kasi nung unang implementation ay sarili na pong deadline. Kumbaga parang binigyan ng 5 to 7 years. I'm just not very sure about the facts. But there's a certain provision that it should only, that it has a deadline. Kaya parang medyo nabitin po ang CARP, which was continued naman during the time of Fidel Ramos. So, under the Ramos administration, nag-focus po siya ng acceleration ng land transfer and encourage rural investments. Ano po yung rural investment? If you notice, in Antipolo, marami pong factories. In Cavite, marami pong factories. And nilipat po from the Metro Manila, nililipat po yung mga big businesses at doon na sila nagbibigay ng magandang mga, kumbaga, investment sa lupa na nasa mga probinsya. And rural investments were encouraged. Meron ding mga other businesses na kumbaga land ang target po ay agricultural businesses. Pero meron din po mga commercial na in-encourage din ng time na yan to be set up right outside the skirts of metropolitan Manila. So during this time, land contribution or distribution was 4.7 million, and it has achieved the highest percentage of the target land so far during the Ramos administration. Although we know, di ba, that President Ramos was actually, what do you call this one? Was actually endorsed by President Corazon Aquino herself. So it was nice that from the previous administration, Fidel V. Ramos continued the target or the implementation of the program. So he collaborated with NGOs or non-government offices and peasant organizations despite landlord resistance. So nandun pa rin po yung landlord resistance. Hacienda Luisita is still not given up. So kumbaga, na hinarap niya yung mga ganitong mga problema ng time niya. Now, under the Estrada administration, which was only very short-lived, gusto rin sana niyang i-fast track ang land acquisition and distribution. However, he only had limited time to implement this program. So he also encountered strong resistance from landowners and limited government funding. Hindi masyado, and like with Marcos, he encouraged that all offices of the government should help in the implementation of CARP. Dito, marami pong naging problema because even the government has given CARP limited funding. Okay? So, 0.18 million beneficiaries were achieved during his term, pero parang maliit lang yung percentage, parang 2% lang yata ang na-achieve ni President Estrada during his time kasi yun nga, hindi rin siya nagtagal sa pwesto. So, during naman Gloria Macapagal Arroyo's administration, remember, her father is the father of the agrarian reform. So, during her time, it was for 9 years that she sat as President of the Philippines, she established Republic Act 9700, which is CARPER, known as CARPER, or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program Extension with Reforms. So this amendatory law extends again the deadline of distributing agricultural lands to farmers for 5 more years. So it also amends other provisions stated in CARP na kapag may kaso, dahil dito sa CARPER na to, or extension of reforms, yung deadline in-extend pa ng 5 more years. So lahat ng na-sign into law ng 2009 ay pwede pang hanggat may kaso, I mean, na-sign na yan, na-distribute, merong mga kaso, meron pa rin tong acknowledgement as a legal proceeding. Ibig sabihin, kapag nanalo yun or natalo ang kaso na yun, pasok pa rin siya sa CARP law or CARP program. And then, dito, nagkaroon pa ng amendments, that is to address the remaining 1.2 million hectares ng agricultural land in the Philippines which is still not yet distributed. So parang, kumbaga yung mga amendments sa CARPER, ito yung parang nagpapatuloy-tuloy pa rin ng mga issue. Now, ang challenges na hinaharap ng CARP ngayon sa inyong time, slow implementation and bureaucratic inefficiencies. So, Hacienda Luisita itself, ang Hacienda Luisita still ongoing ang kaso niyan. Wala pa rin pong nagaganap na katapusan kahit anong tagal na ng marcha ng mga farmers na to. Matatanda na yung mga farmers na to, and then still, the issue about Hacienda Luisita is still ongoing. Dito, meron 13 protesting farmers were shot at the Menjola Massacre dahil po ito sa pakikipaglaban ng kanilang lupa ng mga farmers. It happened in July 1987. Okay? Yung mga farmers na nagprotesta, binaril po. And 13 po daw sila, according to Wikipedia. When you search the information about Hacienda Luisita. So, Hacienda Luisita is in Tarlac. Okay? It's owned by Jose Cuangco. Ngayon, who acquired the Hacienda in 1950s. Marami po kayong makatututunan dito tungkol sa Hacienda Luisita. And then, on the current times, ayan po, ay talaga po hanggang ngayong 2012 yung last nila ditong information, hindi pa rin siya nadidistribute. Okay, so a referendum in 1989 was held among farm workers to Hacienda Luisita. Kumbaga parang nag-alok tong mga haciendero na to na kung gusto ninyo, itutuloy pa rin namin pagiging landowner namin, pero magkakaroon lang kayo ng shares. Ayaw nila i-give up yung lupa para magkaroon ng lupa ang mga farmers. Ang nangyari po ay inalok nila ng shares. Shares sa stocks na kumbaga, kami pa rin na magkukultivate ng land, papasok pa rin sa amin yung pera, kung ano yung kikitain nun, papasok sa stocks natin, yun pong susahurin. Parang ganun. So, stocks means investment. Pag investment, hindi yan basta-basta mabibenta, di ba? Or, pwede mong ibenta uli sa kanila yung stocks na yan or bond na yan na binibigay yung award sa inyo. So, marami pong maging issue yan. And basta ang end process is that Hacienda Luisita was never distributed among the farmers. Now, impact of CARP, it improved naman, dun sa mga nabigyan naman, it improved land access for many farmers but with mixed success rates. Bakit po naging mixed ang success rates nila? Okay? Siguro it's up to you, no? Gusto ko hanapin ninyo yung sagot. Bakit mixed success rates ang impact ng CARP? Ito yung isa nyo sa mga assignment nyo, okay? So, why is it mixed success rate? Ano ba yung mga pinagdedebatihan? Okay, ongoing debates about the effectiveness and fairness of land distribution and continued needs for support services and security for beneficiaries. But ito lang kung gusto kong i-research ninyo. Number 1, in your GCR, I will be asking you, bakit mixed success rate? Okay? That's your number 1 question. I'll just take note of it first. Yung mga current issues niya, mixed success rate of CARP. Okay, that's for your number 1 question. Meron pa dito sa iba eh. So, I'll be okay. So, future of agrarian reform in the Philippines. So, it is important, they say, to evaluate CARP successes and failures. So, dito ma-realize ninyo on your assignment why mixed success rate of CARP. There's also, as one of the issues, is the need for reforms to address current agricultural challenges. Ano po ba yung mga current agricultural challenges? Weather, condition, climate change, diba? Pagkakaroon ng, ayan, next, potential for new policies to enhance rural development. Nagkakaroon ng urban development, diba? The agricultural lands are being sold and becoming subdivisions, although hindi natin alam kung agrarian reform. You know that from the previous slide, sinabi natin that if you're an agrarian reform beneficiary, you cannot sell it, diba? Pero we don't know kung ano pa yung current challenges and means nila para ibalik or mawala sa kanila yung lupa. Potential for new policies to enhance rural development and farmer welfare. So ano po yung mga yung mga nagiging dagdag pang pwedeng mangyari. So meron pong pwedeng magkaroon ng new policies na yung mga rural development natin, di ba? Yung mga probinsya natin ay magagawa mga subdivision, yung mga farmer welfare natin, halimbawa, nagmamahal na yung mga pesticides. And ang nangyayari ay nakukulangan tayo ng mga polisiya to control the prices of yung pagbababa ng pagpambili nila ng bigas. I mean, ang pagbibenta ng mga palay. So, marami pong policies na magiging challenge pa po itong CARP or the Agrarian Reform Program. So, discussion questions. Okay, now, with the mixed success rate of CARP, research nyo po itong information. The other question is, other 3 questions are, what do you think are the key factors for the success of agrarian reform? That's your additional question, number 2. Number 3 question is, how can the government better support landless owners and agricultural workers? And number 3, in what ways can CARP be improved to meet its original goals? So, nandun lang po yung ongoing pa po kasi to, and it would be part of the reason that we are taking up the social issues in the Philippines is that for you to be aware in what ways you will be able to help. Diba? Ang hirap niyo isipin, diba? Sabihin nyo, ma'am, hindi naman po kami farmers eh. That's why we moved to a city like Metro Manila kasi dito hindi mahirap ang buhay, hirap-hirap po kayo ng buhay ng farm workers. So in what ways can you improve them? 'Di ba? Mahirap nga eh. Lalo ako rin, I grew up in an agricultural area. Although nasa bayan kami, our grandparents owned are farmland owners. So, nakaka-experience kami pumunta sa mga palayan. And we know how hard the job is of a farm worker, di ba? Hanggang magtanim ay di biro, maghapon na kayo po. Okay, di ba? That's planting rice. That planting rice song is already an indication or describes the hard work farmers give every day to till the land and produce rice for the Filipinos. So, in what way will you help them? Kumbaga, ito po ay individual answers, ha? And I would be placing all these 4 questions, 3 here, and including the other research question for you to research the mixed issues or mixed success rate of CARP. And as a conclusion, CARP represents a significant effort in addressing land inequality in the Philippines. So it's not just that we want everybody to produce or maximize the agricultural land area, but it is also about inequality in the Philippines. Diba? We know that the rich are rich, the poor are poor. Parang, di ba, there's a great divide between the rich and the poor people in the Philippines. So, by understanding its history, challenges, and impact, marami po tayong matututunan on how to solve or to have other ideas on how to reform further the CARP program. Engaging in discussion about agrarian reform can lead to better policies and practices. So, sana nga po, mas lalo pa po, sa 20, kung makikita nyo po dito sa DAR website, there are 20 secretaries of the agrarian reform program. And how come, sa dami po ng taong yan na nag-iisip, I hope we can come up with better policies and practices in the distribution or the equal distribution of lands in the Philippines. So tayo mga normal na tao nga eh, di ba? May house and lot lang tayo, may titirikan lang tayo ng bahay natin na legal. Di ba? Parang masaya na tayo. If we have the lot na paglalagyan sa atin when we pass away one day, someday, meron tayong libingan na sarili natin, may lupang tinitirikan habang buhay tayo ng ating mga bahay at tahanan. It's enough for us. Pero ang isipin po natin is in the larger scale, okay? For a simple teacher like me, okay na sa akin yung ganun eh. 'Di ba? May pamana lang ako na pangalawang lote, pangatlong lote para sa aking mga anak na enough for their house and their families one day. Kasi hindi naman farmers yung family namin, tulad namin halimbawa. I will be happy about it. Kayo din, 'di ba? May sarili lang kayong lupang katitirikan ng bahay nyo, Siguro iba sa inyo would love to become farmers. I don't know. But in the GMIT, I will ask kung sino talaga has the love to cultivate and develop land. You are one of the rare species ng ating mga farmers in the Philippines. More and more farmers are actually giving up their land area para lang para lang po sa ease of lifestyle. Mahirap talaga maging farmer eh. So, some of our farmers, they give up farming because, lugi. Diba? Lugi because of climate change. Sasabayan pa ng pagmahal ng lahat ng mga materials na like diesel, yung sasakyan, traktora, diba? And all other needs for you to harvest bountifully every time na merong season. So, I hope na this CARP issue, although very short lang naman yung discussion natin, you will have your own idea on how to help or assist as a simple Filipino in this program for all the people, not just for farmers, but to practice addressing land inequality in the Philippines. Diba? So, sana po meron po kayong natutunan, and thank you very much for your time. and listening to this lecture. If you have further questions, we can address it in our Gmeet, but I just have to share this informations to you via this YouTube lecture. So thank you for your time and thank you for listening. Questions will be entertained in the Gmeet and in your comments for on this YouTube comment section. Thank you.